This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, we promised you that Ruthie Polinsky from NBC6 would be kind enough to join us and talk a little Miami Dolphins, preview a little Fins and Saints tonight. And there she is. Good morning, Ruthie.
Good morning.
You're here, right? You're in South Florida?
Yeah. I'm in Miami.
I don't know if they sent you out to Bourbon Street to cover, but I'm looking to your left and I'm seeing what looks like a Miami condo. So yes, it looks very Miami. So it's good for you. So how have your holidays been so far?
My holidays have been wonderful. Thank you for asking. What have I done? I actually had Christmas Eve and Christmas off. I offered to work because I'm a nice Jewish girl down here, so I don't really do much for Christmas. But I ended up getting, a couple days off this weekend, which was lovely, just to spend some time with family. And I have my two younger sisters are coming in town this weekend. We are at this moment in time, obviously things are very up in the air, but we are at this moment in time planning on going to the Orange Bowl.
Oh, that's right. Michigan.
Go Blue.
Right.
I'm an alum. My sister's an alum. Her boyfriend's an alum. My boyfriend's an alum. So a lot of Michigan juice coming to South Florida. Okay.
All right. Well, good luck to your Wolverines. All right. Harbaugh, Lord knows he needed this, man, because damn, I don't know how you guys are still supporting the dude. I mean, after everything that's gone on with him.
They go after, I mean, this, I think last year there were so many COVID issues. We didn't even end up playing Ohio State. And I was like, he took this as an excuse to not play Ohio State because he knew he was going to, I was out on Harbaugh. I was out, and I have never been so happy to be wrong. And I think we all can learn from this example that it takes time. It takes time to build something that you believe in. And I think Jim Harbaugh, he did that, and he got Michigan back on that national stage. And when you beat Ohio State, man, good things happen to you. And now he's in the semifinal game, and I think they're going to be able to give Georgia a good run for their money.
Well, that'll be interesting. If they can beat Georgia, that would be impressive. And for Georgia, I mean, they've got that choking label, so they also need to kind of win it for themselves too, because they kind of fall short in these kind of situations. Since Herschel Walker, Georgia has been falling short for a long, long time.
And, during this Harbaugh tenure, I'll say that it felt like Michigan could never win the big game.
Right.
You could never come in, you're undefeated, and then you play the big game, and then you lose by a lot. And it's
Ohio
like,
State, you lose to Michigan State too. I mean, he's got a poor record against Michigan State, and that's unacceptable in that state.
Yeah, and we lost to Michigan State this year, but that ended up not being so terrible of a loss. But then you saw what Ohio State did to Michigan State, and I'm like, oh, here we go again. And then we end up taking it to the Buckeyes. I was happy about that one. So, and then they crushed Iowa in the Big Ten championship, which was another big game that they capitalized on. So I don't think the moment's going to be too big for them on this stage, and I'm excited about it.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. They've got the toughness factor going into this game. So that's something that they haven't been able to come through in the big moments. And this year they've kind of answered the bell pretty much every time. So you got to give them credit when they deserve it. And we'll see. So the good thing is also, Ruthie, is we have a good Orange Bowl game, which is cool. You know what I mean? Because selfishly, having the Orange Bowl in our backyard, look, obviously I love my Canes and I want them to be there all the time. But at least for all the great people at the Orange Bowl committee, and they work so hard, and you want them to have a good game and a good performance. And I'm glad that that's the one thing we are getting in our backyard.
Totally.
We're getting one hell of a game, man, which is cool.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, it matters. All right. So speaking of what matters, well, the last 6 weeks, it's one of those where it's a great streak, and people might be talking about playoffs, and you're like, hey, man, let's, pump your brakes. Let's wait. Well, the work has paid off, Ruthie. Now you're in control now. That's all you can ask for now. Now you're back in control. So you take care of business the next 3 weeks. You're in the playoffs. And it starts tonight against a depleted New Orleans team that won't be easy, but this is the must win of all must wins right now.
It's the must win of all must wins, and it's with the whole country watching. So you know what? You better show this country that you that these 6 wins are no fluke. That's what I think this team needs to do tonight. Not only should you win, but you should blow this team out. That's how I feel. I know you were listening. I was just listening to you and Omar. 21 players on the COVID list, a rookie quarterback who's making his first NFL start. He stands a whole 5'2", I think. The Dolphins coached this kid in the Senior Bowl. They're very familiar with his learning style, with his practice style. And Ian Book was so much fun to watch at Notre Dame, and I loved watching. I thought he was a really cool, dynamic quarterback to play that was able to play well in college football. But good luck to you against this Dolphins defense that is playing at an all-time high and a really, really, really confident way that has shined on in the big lights so far during this win streak. I think this should be an easy win for the Dolphins in prime time. Easy, of course. It's the NFL. No wins are easy. 21 players on the COVID list, a rookie quarterback. Get the win and get out of there.
And one of the things I've been saying is, and you were talking about Ian in college, and yeah, you're right. He was fun to watch, but his style, I don't know if it translates to the NFL because he never turned into the passer that I thought he was going to turn. When I first saw him as a freshman, I was impressed. And I was like, okay, well, if this kid grows into a passer, holy crap, he's going to turn into a hell of a player. But he really never developed into a dynamic passer. And to me, that's going to be the knock on him at this level. In college, you can kind of get away with it, get away with your legs and make some play with your arm. But at this level, I just don't know if he has the passing skills to really become a starting quarterback. That's just me.
Yeah, and obviously tonight's not going to be the time to test his passing skills against Xavier Howard and Byron Jones and a defense that is going to pressure you all freaking night. So I think they're going to try and run the ball a lot. I think the Dolphins have been very good at stopping the run, and I think that's how this team should win this game, is by shutting down their offense and doing what you can shutting down their offense and doing what you can on offense. And hopefully they're able to run the ball similar to the way that they did against the Jets.
Ruthie Polinsky joining us. Don't forget, by the way, to follow her on Twitter at Ruthie Polinsky. And of course, you can always catch her there at NBC6. Ruthie, where do you stand with Tua? I've always been a believer in him. My only concern with him always has been durability. But outside of that, I've always thought that he can be a player in this league as long as he gets a supporting cast, and I don't think he has it right now. The line has gotten better. There still isn't a running game, although what Duke did last week was nice. But I think eventually he'll turn into that guy if he has the supporting cast around him. How important is tonight, and where does he stand in your eyes?
Yeah, I don't know if you can make the argument that he doesn't have the pieces around him at this point. You have an offensive line that has gotten better and has created holes for the run game and is now protecting him. He was only sacked once, I think, last week. And I think you have Jalen Waddle, who is a Rookie of the Year candidate at this point, and you have Mike Gesicki, and you have Devontae Parker, and you have guys, obviously you've had ins and outs in that lineup of your wide receiver room, but when you have things working, you can't really I don't think you can make that argument for Tua at this point when you look at other quarterbacks around the league who are doing it with less. So I think Tua has gotten better, especially over this win streak. And, the ribs was a setback. That was not fun that he had to miss basically 4 games due to injury. But what you're seeing from Tua, and what impresses me most about Tua, is that he can make those rookie mistakes. Let's consider him, still somewhat a rookie, and, he's only played 17 games or whatever. He makes those rookie mistakes, and then he comes right back down the field and scores and is resilient. And that, I think, is what's most impressive to me, is that is his mental toughness and his ability to bounce back after those mistakes. So, I think it's been fun to watch Tua grow for sure. Can he be a top 10 quarterback in this league? I don't know. I really don't know. But top 10 quarterbacks in this league make a lot out of nothing. So you can't really say that he is that right now. But like you said, can he win these next 3 games for this team? I think so. So I'm excited about what he can do in these next 3 games, and I like where he stands at this point in his career. You want to see him stop making those rookie mistakes now, right? You want to see him stop throwing those
the
interceptions.
young quarterbacks are going to make them. Yeah, they're going to
sure. He'll make those 1 or 2 throws a game where you're like, ooh, let's not do that anymore. But he is getting better, and I really think his growth and his resiliency has been really, really impressive.
By the way, I just thought about this. We all have to stop. We have to change our thinking already on all this. 2 weeks ago, we said, well, he completed his first season. No. Last week, he completed his first season. Right. Seasons are now 17 games.
Right.
Actually, they're not 16. Right. I was because when you were saying that, I just thought of this, just came to my mind now. Because we all said 2 weeks ago, oh, well, he just completed his first season. And we were all wrong at that point. Actually, he completed his first season last week against the Jets. Right. So, technically, unfortunately, wasn't the best of performances to stick in there for the final. But yeah, we'll take it as it is. Your thoughts right now on the drafting, the front office. There was a lot of criticism early on. I was one of the few people that was actually defending the front office and saying, y'all need to slow down and relax and give it some time to bring your point full circle from what we were talking about at the start of this conversation. And so time now maybe has changed the point of view for a lot of people. How are you viewing now the front office and what they've done in the first couple of years? Well,
the 2021 draft, I think, saved Chris Grier. Right. I mean, the way that Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, Javon Holland, even Liam Eichenberg, who's gotten better, those 4 players have been stellar picks. I will say my one knock is that I think you could have drafted Jalen Waddle at number 3 and no one would blink an eye at this point. And then you would have your picks. So I think giving up, that was kind of weird. The 12 to 6 and next year you don't have your own first round pick. So that's the one thing where I'm sitting there like, maybe not so great. But at the beginning of the year, you're right. I mean, you looked at the offensive linemen that they drafted in 2020. You looked at Tua, and Herbert was playing better than Tua at the early part of the season. And just
that has changed.
That has
changed. Size queens have to take a step back like Homer disappearing.
I still think Justin Herbert can be elite. I think he's obviously going through ups and downs right now. However, I think what we've seen happen this year with the Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, Javon Holland, who was an absolute steal in the second round, that's been really fun to watch. I think probably your one knock is, hey, like we could have used a running back, but if you found something in Duke Johnson and everything will be put.
But you can get a running back next year. Sure. I mean, running backs come out all the time. They just haven't felt like choosing one early. That's been their issue. They just don't feel like picking one. And I think, my whole thing has been from the get-go is they've done this on purpose because the first couple of years you're developing a line and you're developing a quarterback and you're developing an offense. So if you draft a young running back, you're using him up. He's taking a beating. He's taking all kinds of hits, and your team still isn't good yet. But if you wait till year 4 or 5 to add your running back, by then your quarterback has developed, your line has developed, your receivers have developed, your defense has developed. Now you plug the kid in, and then now he walks into a situation that's really good, and he can excel. And I keep reminding people about this. Most of your backs nowadays are going to be one contract guys. Unless you happen to hit on that guy that is so good that you're willing to give him that fat contract for the second one. So I think these guys are looking at it going, well, let's wait till everything's in place. We'll draft a guy. He's only going to be a one contract guy more often than not. So we'll use him up for 4 or 5 years, and then we'll move on to the next guy, the next guy, and the next guy, and so on and so forth. So I think they've waited for that because that position is so interchangeable that they'll be able to find one whenever they really need one. Right now, they're worried about all the other pieces to develop. That's just me.
No, you took the words out of my mouth because I think what you see what happens when you design your offense around a running back because they are so interchangeable and they're banged up all the time. Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry. I mean, these are guys that
everybody gets burned that gives a big contract.
And Najee Harris is playing well, but he's not winning Pittsburgh games. So I think, you look at the Jalen Phillips pick there, and maybe some wanted Najee Harris there. And at this point you're saying, wow, Jalen Phillips is so much more. He's so much
more valuable.
He's so much more of a game changer than Najee is for Pittsburgh. So I think what's happening in the front office is working. It'll be interesting to see if things change in the front office and in the coaching rooms, how things kind of shift there. But I think the more Flores is putting his handprint on things, I think he's had a lot of say in these picks. I know that he was very, very high on Javon Holland coming out of the draft, and that was big for Brian Flores to get him. So, the more that you have your coach evaluating players along with your scouting department, I think that can be a really big recipe for success. I mean, you see what happens in other places where the coaches and the general managers work together. And I think that can be a really important part of this team's long-term success.
And by the way, 2020, listen, if you hit on Tua, the draft's great.
For sure.
It doesn't matter what else. But if you really think about it, you do have Brandon Jones in that draft, and you do have Raekwon Davis in that draft.
Love Brandon Jones. Love Raekwon Davis. Yes.
Yeah. So really, that 2020 draft, people are overreacting also on that. That one's headed in the right direction also. I mean, all you got to do is hit on Tua. But you already hit on Raekwon Davis, and Brandon Jones is developing into a nice, strong safety. So
what overshadows that draft in 2020 is Noah Igbenogany, who can't get on the field, and
he's not supposed to.
And Austin Jackson, who you needed to be a tackle. You wanted him to be a tackle. You needed him to be a tackle, and he's not. So,
but if he ends up as a guard at 18, you know how many guards get picked at that point? Lots.
Sure.
So if he ends up as a good guard at 18, it becomes a successful pick. And if Eichenberg ends up at tackle, it becomes a successful pick. And if Hunt turns out good, then 3 of your 5 guys are good. And if Peter actually turns out to be serviceable, then 4 out of your 5 guys.
Sure.
Which, you know what you mean? You got to put a statue for Chris Greer outside the stadium if he ends up hitting on 4 of the 5 offensive linemen. That's ridiculous.
All right. Well, we'll see. I think there's a lot still to be determined there. And I think there's still, I know you're a big Tua guy, but I think Tua still has a lot to prove before he can be the for sure seen franchise quarterback of the future for this team. So there's still time to evaluate that 2020 draft. I think 2021, A-, I'll give him. It was awesome. Thought it was really good.
All right. What's the prediction tonight, Ruthie? What happens?
Well, I told you I want them to blow them out, but I don't know if they will. So I'm going to say, I know Omar said 30 points. I think the Dolphins should score 35 points. I'd like to see some sort of defensive score. I would like to see something happen where you're going to get this kid to make a mistake. You're going to get a short field. You're going to do something to capitalize on all of Ian Book's mistakes in his first NFL start. So I'm going to say the Dolphins score 35 points. Saints 17. 35-17.
There you go. Follow her on Twitter. What were you going to say?
I was going to say those Saints points could be kind of like garbage time. Like, I think this game's going to be put to bed early.
Oh God, that would be fantastic.
You were talking earlier about how the Cowboys game last night, how it was like that game was over so early, and you were like, I would love to see that tonight. It's only the team, like Dallas fans were the only ones that liked that game last night, because I'm sitting there waiting for my show to go on Sunday night, and I'm like, this game is taking forever, and it is done. Yeah. So I hope it's interesting, and I hope we get a good glimpse, and I hope the world can see the turnaround that this Dolphins team has had. It's been really, really fun to watch, and the credit goes to the players, the credit goes to the coaching staff that they were able to stay together and now give themselves a shot to make the postseason. I'm very, very excited. It's been a blast to cover this win streak.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's been a lot of fun, man. Let's hope they can complete the run by getting some wins over the next couple of weeks here. Follow her on Twitter at Ruthie Polinsky, and catch her at NBC6 when they don't keep her away from the building, doing her thing. Ruthie, as always, thank you. You're awesome. We will talk again.
All right, let's do it again soon. Okay, bye.
You got it. There you go. Ruthie Polinsky. All right, good stuff as always.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.